Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another podcast episode. I'm yours truly, Culture Shock. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's go ahead and hop into the topic of the discussion. The topic of today, as you can see from the title, T.Y. Hilton, Colts legend, finally decided to announce his retirement at 36 years old. Um, been out the league for about 4 years. He just, you know, just went away. He didn't never really fully announce it. But 2 days ago, as of this date, March 18th, he decided to post it on social media platforms that he is hanging it up and he is done playing football. What a legend, man! Colts legend for sure. One of my favorite wide receivers of all time in Indianapolis. Only one of the main reasons because he was in my era of football. Of course, you got the Marvin Harrisons and the Reggie Waynes of the world, who I grew up watching as well. But T.Y. Hilton was for sure one of my favorite wide receivers of all time in Indianapolis. It's just a complete dog, man. Him and that run that him and Andrew Luck went on, it was just a dynamic duo. One of the most underrated duos and one of the best duos in football in general. Of course, you got Brady and Moss and all of these other quarterback and wide receiver duos, but Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton has to be in that conversation, man. But T.Y. was literally one of the best underrated receivers in football in his time playing. Nicknamed the Ghost, one of the fastest receivers, really good at running the routes as well, but just always available. Four-time Pro Bowler, led the NFL in receiving yards in 2016, 53 touchdowns, over almost 700 receptions out of his career, almost 10,000 receiving yards. Was a complete dog, man. Like I said, we're definitely going to miss him. He played for Dallas for a little bit, 1 year, but nobody really counts that. Nobody cares. Not in my opinion, of course, because he's a Colts legend, but he's going to retire a Colt. He definitely mentioned that in his message, his farewell message for sure. But, top three in franchise history in receiving yards and receptions, and one of the best to do it for sure has to be put in the ring of honor for the Indianapolis Colts. But definitely a legend. He will be missed. Hopefully, he'll be at a lot of games moving forward. He is a coach as well, coaching football. I think it's high school, so and his son's going to college. Got a lot going on, but like I said, he was a dog at his time in Indianapolis. Will be missed for sure, and that era is finally put to an end. When you think about it, just the Colts. When you look at the Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton era, of course, we had Andrew Luck retire a few years ago, but now this year it's T.Y. Hilton, so it's pretty much come to an end, man. It's just surreal to think of that era being done already. They were so young and poised, man. It's like time flies so fast. Now when you look at where the Colts at in a different space, it's like, wow, where did we go? It's just insane to think. But like I said, T.Y. Hilton announced his retirement. Definitely going to be missed on the football field for the Colts in general. But his presence was definitely something to watch every Sunday. Look forward to seeing him play football because you knew he was going to go out there and put on the show. Especially against the Houston Texans. He loved playing them, and I love watching them too. Because whenever we played the Texans, I knew we was in for a show when T.Y. Hilton's out there on the field. So other than that, we got a few more moves the Colts made in the offseason the last few days before this announcement from T.Y. Hilton. Gaithers, the Akeem Davis-Gaither is a guy that the Colts signed March 18th. It was like 2 days ago from this date. Veteran linebacker. Of course, they picked up another linebacker. Another guy that's familiar with Lou Anarumo decides to pair back up with them this time in Indianapolis. Former fourth-round pick from Appalachian State. Played with the Bengals and the Cardinals last year, and now he plays with the Colts. He's a pretty good run stopper, but in coverage, going up against bigger tight ends and things of that nature is one of the things that the Colts lacked last year in linebacker coverage. He can pretty much go out there and do that. And he's not even 30 yet. So career interception-wise, got three. Career high in tackles in 2025 with the Cardinals, which was last year. So that's good to have him out there, especially replacing a guy like Zaire Franklin, who's good at tackling. So have Akeem come in and pretty much fill in that space. It's a pretty good replacement. And it's pretty much contract-wise, not really breaking your pockets either. So I think it's a good sign moving forward. Like I said, we needed linebackers, especially after moving Zaire Franklin. But he's a three down type linebacker and he pretty much is already familiar with the scheme of Lou Anarumo. So bringing him back is good. So we just need to worry about having him come back and Jermaine Pratt. If Pratt can come back too, that'll be a pretty much a good idea to have, a good scenario to have for a linebacker depth, because we still need some pieces, man. So yeah, like I said, this is a pretty good replacement. Like I said, he's not Zaire Franklin, but I think he's a pretty good piece to put in the system. And we're slowly becoming the Indianapolis Bengals. Over time, there's just so many Bengal players coming to Indianapolis. But like I said, as long as you know the scheme and the defense needs to boost, it's good with me. So like I said, I think I like this glue piece for sure. Definitely probably going to be a starter moving forward if they don't get anybody else. So I do like that. Another signing that they made was wide receiver Westbrook-Ikhine, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine from the Tennessee Titans. He used to play for the Titans. That's where he started. Last year was with the Dolphins, 28-year-old. He's a vet. Wide receiver, big body receiver at that. Coming off of an injury as well, but the Colts wound up picking him up in the recent days. 19 touchdown career-wise. Like I said, he's a tall receiver, can big body, can replace Michael Pittman Jr. red zone target. So I think that's a pretty good replacement. Not a number one wide receiver. We all know the number one wide receiver is Alec Pierce. That's no conversation, no debate. Like I said, but we needed another big body out there in the field, and adding him to the system and letting Alec Pierce be the number one wide receiver, but still having a big body available. I think this is a good key piece replacement. And I think you can. I think we're going to see a little bit more of a difference of what it looks like when you have Alec Pierce taking all of the reps like he did before, but having a guy like Nick Westbrook being available just to be there. So, like I said, rep wise, we just need a body on the field. We need a big target. Even though my guy for sure would be Alec Pierce on those type of plays, you need somebody on the jump ball situations and things like that. But for physical matchups or things like that, or even in the red zone, you want a big body out there. I think Nick would be the person to put out there on the field. Not going to get all the reps, like I said. He's not a number one wide receiver but just for for rep wise, or I'd say for a body. For depth piece, that's the word I was looking for. A good depth piece, I think it'll be a guy like Nick Westbrook, just a big body. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to draft a wide receiver as well. But like I said, we need to sign vets. There's a lot of vets out there for agency. The veteran pickup stage is happening now, as we can see. They just picked up two vets, one on defense and Akeem Davis, and then Nick Westbrook. So it's going to be interesting to see what he looks like. He's 6'2". Like I said, he can be a red zone threat. So that should be two decent pieces to see what they look like. Can't really lose anything adding these guys to the roster. Another move that they made, which was the last one, was Cam Taylor, a DB. We needed another defensive back. We just mentioned this on the other episode a few days ago, or last week, I would say. We needed some more depth pieces, especially on corner. I mentioned they were probably going to draft a corner, in my opinion, but they went and signed one, another former Bengal second-round pick, Cam Taylor. He had a lot of conversation coming out of the draft, but he's another guy that's familiar with Lou Anarumo's scheme. Lou Anarumo's scheme, 7 career interceptions, defended over 39 passes, and he's pretty good at man coverage, not afraid to jump routes. So that's one of those guys you need, especially in a Lou Anarumo screen, where he's pretty much going to put you out there on that island and pretty much put you in man coverage and have a lot of blitzes. You need a piece like this. So, like I said, he's familiar with the scheme. Adding him to, with Mooney Ward and Sauce Gardner, I think this is a good addition, especially with Kenny Moore. Like I said, we need DB depth just due to all the injuries that we've seen over time. With the corners on the defensive side, I think this is a good depth piece to add another guy that's familiar with the scheme. So, it's good to have a lot of veterans and a lot of people that's familiar with the scheme to be available. So I think this is a good depth piece to add. Like I say, he's been battling with injuries too over the few years, but adding him, being available if he's out there, I think another good piece to add to the team that's familiar with the scheme. It's a good depth piece. So all of these moves, these last 3 moves were just depth piece signings and from scheme familiarity. Well, I would say for the defensive side. For the offensive side, you just needed a depth piece for height. So we'll be interested to see what they do with these pieces moving forward. If they make any more moves moving forward, I'll be sure to let you know about it as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. How do you feel about these last moves, and how do you feel about T.Y. Hilton retiring? Um, will he make the Ring of Honor? Of course, we already know that. Is he a Hall of Famer? Let me know the conversation. Let me know your favorite play from T.Y. Hilton as well. All of these things in the comment section. Also, follow the website, thebluestable.com. We have articles releasing there. Follow us on all platforms at the Blue Stable Podcast. Just search it, we'll find it. Also, follow me on all platforms, the Culture Shock Podcast, on all platforms. Appreciate the support. And until next time, of course, when the Colts drop some news, I'll be sure to give it to you. This is Culture Shock, signing out. Have a good one.